in today's video, we are looking at a ink, and it is this ink from Kitty InkPot, and this is an exclusive ink with the Australian online retailer Soe Soe. Now, Kitty InkPot is a Chinese ink brand, and this is the first collaboration that Soe Soe have done with them. If you are interested in this or any of the other Soe Soe products, you can use the discount code, the Offstage Me, which is in the video description here, to get a little discount and throw some support in the way of my channel. So today we are looking at this ink, and I purchased this because I thought it looked interesting on the website. And I love exclusives, especially to Australian retailers, so I thought, why not? So this is the 25 milliliter bottle, and this retails for 27 Australian dollars. So not inexpensive, but it is an exclusive to Soe Soe from Kitty InkPot. And this is what it looks like on a colouring card. This is one of those beautiful multi-chroma kind of inks. Kitty InkPot is well known for these sort of, style of inks, shall we say. So this runs from like grey, lighter greys to darker greys, all with sort of like a pinky tinge, and then like some pretty strong pinky mauve sort of colours underneath there. It's particularly noticeable in swatches, although as you'll see in some writing, particularly on things like Tomo River with, nice broad nibs, you are able to see some of that in the writing as well. Like on this card, you can see just like hints of the pink amongst the grey in the writing there. And here it is on the good old 52 GSM stock of Tomo River paper. This is a Galen Everyday Notebook. You can see in the swatch, it brings out that beautiful sort of multi-chroma shading beautifully, but you also see it in the writing. You see good shading, but you see even that multi-chroma happening. It's really beautiful here. This is super, sort of ink-resistant paper in a way. So the ink sort of dries on top, and that's what brings out a lot of those special qualities, be it sheen or shading. These sorts of papers do that better than anything. So I had this in a Jinhao X450 with a medium nib, and then I was using my Kakimori brass dip pen to give an idea of like a super wet, big, broad writer. That X450 medium there, in that one in particular, being relatively fine. In terms of the water test down the bottom here, all the blues and greys have disappeared, and we're left with like a bit of that gentle hint of the pink left behind there. On the surface, all the lines hold nice and tight. Everything is performing very well. On the reverse, that performance continues. This is Tomo River paper, so we would expect some ghosting, definite show through there, but no bleed, not even in the swatch. Kitty InkPot seem to make, I've used a few of these now, they seem to make pretty well-behaving inks. They seem relatively, and I'm using safe not in the sense of vintage pens, but safe in terms of sort of everyday use. But yes, no bleeding there, which is really nice. Now we'll look at it on some lower end paper, and first starting here with the student notepad paper. On the front, we're getting good hits of the pink, but lots of feathering. On the reverse, as you would expect on this paper, which is not fountain pen friendly paper, there is a lot of bleed, especially from the Kakimori dip pen. But once again, that's very wet on non-fountain pen friendly paper. On the printer paper here, the 80 GSM reflex printer paper, it looks okay. We're getting nice blues and pinks, and as the ink sort of spreads into this paper, it's separating, and you're getting like almost a heightened sense of some of that, almost like a chromatography effect happening there. On the reverse, we're seeing lots and lots of the blue of this ink. So that's what's sort of tinging that grey, and it looks rather interesting, but this is not fountain pen friendly paper, and it doesn't perform well. And then lastly here on Rhodia paper, lots of the nice dark greys and sort of mauvey pinks, a little bit of the blue sort of coming through from that deep inside that grey, and the reverse of that is absolutely perfect. We're not seeing any bleed, there's no feather, all the lines are held tight, and the ink is really doing what it's designed to do on this paper. Now for a colour comparison on the colouring card there, there is Diamine Lady Grey, which I think it has a lot in common with. It's not quite, Lady Grey is still a little pinker in the lighter shading, whereas Moonlit Rose Garden is more of the grey end of that. Next, we're going to look at alongside Moby Dick from Wearingle, which is a more sort of straight grey that leans in to those pinky purpley colours, but doesn't bring them out in the multi chromas. A little bit more of that blue there. It's a lovely, lovely ink, but very light on the page. Now for a couple of Sailor Studio inks, and there are a number of these sort of high multi-chroma inks, and I've got 224 and 123 here. 123 seems to be one of the perennial favorites, and no ink multi-chromas like that ink. We're seeing like bright, vibrant purples through greens and dark greys. It's wonderful. And 224 is the sort of lighter version of that. So we're getting lighter greys, which are not dissimilar to the Kitty InkPot grey there, but more greens, blues, and then that pink coming through. And then two of my favorite Robert Oster multi-chroma inks. One is from the Elements series. This is Wind. It's a lot more blue. Both of these are much brighter blues, but they shade into that pink quite nicely. So Wind there, and of course Romeo and Juliet, which was designed to have the blues and the pinks next to each other. It's a really interesting ink, and these multi-chroma inks are very interesting in general. So what do I think of this ink? Well, I think it's actually a really good ink. I think it's interesting. It looks beautiful on the page. It's fun to write with. Even the lighter shading, it's legible. Like, it can get a little light on the page. The page contrast is good in the darker shading. Nice and sort of legible and easily read. But in the lighter shading, it gets a little on the lighter side. Generally, I think the performance is pretty good. The flow is okay. It's not super wet, but it's nice enough. It cleans relatively easily from a pen. It's not super saturated. And as you could see on a range of different papers, it looks okay, but especially on higher end papers, that is where the multi-chroma effect of this ink is really allowed to shine. At 27 Australian dollars, it is an expensive ink for 25 millilitres, comparatively, but in saying that, as I said, you can get a little discount if you use the Offstage Me, which is in the video description here, at checkout at the Soe Soe website. And that Soe Soe website is the only place you can get this ink. This is an exclusive to them. So it's Kitty InkPot and Soe Soe have this ink, Moonlit Rose Garden. And I think it's really lovely. I enjoy a multi-chroma ink occasionally, and it's these sorts of ones that I particularly enjoy. Ones that are nice and legible on the page, and, you know, where the multi-chroma is, you know, an added bonus as opposed to the thing you're going for. Like shimmer inks for me, I don't love them. They're not my favorite. I prefer to see the color of the ink, and you get lots of that gray in this, and then just like hints of the multi-chroma, and I think that's really nice. So I'm really keen to see what Soe Soe do going ahead. They've done a few sort of exclusives now. I think they're a really interesting retailer that do beautiful things, and the customer service is absolutely brilliant. So, you know, collaborating here with Kitty InkPot, love to see what they do more with Kitty InkPot, and of course other brands. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. You know, consider becoming a member of this channel and all of that good stuff. And enjoy your inks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.